Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise this morning to talk about a word that is everywhere, a word that is the response to every idea that we come up with, and that word is socialism. It's a scary word. It's a magical word. It's the word that comes up every time Democrats propose a plan to better educate America's children. Socialism. To make the elderly more secure in their retirement. Socialism. To make health care available to people in this country who still can't see a doctor. Socialism. It's a magical word because if you say socialism, it allows you to hide the fact that you actually don't have a counterplan. That when the Democrats say, here's a bunch of plans to make health care better, and you don't have a plan, you just say socialism, and that can end the conversation. And it's a magical word because it allows you to distract from the fact that if you actually do the things to better educate America's children, or to make America's retirees more secure in their retirement, or to make health care more available, that costs a little money. And the problem with that is that for my Republican colleagues, that money needs to go into tax cuts for the wealthiest people in this country and from corporations. And that's a problem. And by the way, it's not a new thing. This has been going on for 100 years. I've got a quote here from President Reagan. Behind it, and he's talking about Medicare here, behind it will come other federal programs that will invade every area of freedom as we know it in this country until one day we will awake to find that we have socialism. Ronald Reagan promised us that Medicare, probably one of the most successful programs this country has ever put forward, would lead to socialism. And it goes back before that. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who did so much to make for the decency that is endemic in this country after the Depression, the Securities and Exchange Commission, so that our capitalist economy would be a fair economy. The progressive income tax, so we could actually fund our military and fund education. All socialism. He was a traitor to his class. He was a socialist. This goes way back. So having quoted Ronald Reagan, let me quote another great leader, Inigo Montoya. In The Princess Bride, it says, "You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means." So what does socialism mean? What is socialism? Here's the dictionary definition. It's a system in which there is no private property, or a system in which the government owns the means of production. What is that? Is Medicare socialist? Does Mount Sinai or Sloan Kettering, are those hospitals, are doctors working for the government? Of course not. Was Dodd-Frank socialist? No, Dodd-Frank put in place regulations that have allowed JP Morgan Chase and Citibank and Wells Fargo and all of these banks to be more profitable than ever before. That is not socialism. And what's particularly interesting is if that's not socialism, is socialism is just a lot of government in your economy. I took the time to look at states where government is actually a big part of the economy. You can look this up. There's an article called The 5 Most Socialist States: West Virginia, Alaska, Wyoming, Mississippi, and Arkansas. Those are the 5 states with the largest percentage of government spending as part of their economy. Deep, deep red states. Top 5 socialist states, Republican. Now, what about those socialist states that my Republican friends call socialist? Here's a couple of them. California, New York, Massachusetts, that's Taxachusetts. California, my friend Devin Nunes, the representative from California, because they're trying to take plastic out of the Pacific Ocean, called California socialist. These are the economic powerhouses of the nation. They have GDPs that look like small countries. They have innovators. They start companies. And the reason for that is because innovators and business people want to start businesses in communities where there are good schools, access to health care, and people have the wages to actually buy their products. So my colleagues, don't be fooled by that magical word socialism. Socialism is what is used to address every effort that we make to make for a more fair and just society. That is not socialism. These things, increased wages, better health care, better access to education, are not socialism. They are in the finest tradition of making sure that opportunity is available to every American and that the American dream will not die. With that, I yield back, Mr. Speaker.